Hello, I'm Josephine Cafagna. Welcome to Stateline. The ability to predict the path of a fire has become one of the central questions of the Royal Commission as it pores over the events that led to Australia's worst peacetime disaster. Now, more than 6 months on, Stateline can reveal that the Country Fire Authority ignored, for years before Black Saturday, a fire prediction model that was developed by one of its own staffers and repeatedly offered to the organisation's top brass. Those who've devoted themselves to the study of fire say this missed opportunity is symptomatic of a broader problem enveloping fire research Australia-wide. Jane Cowan has this exclusive report.
There's no doubt in my mind that some people who perished would not have perished if they had access to the information on Ron's model.
I was getting certainly no formal response, no offers to make this into a formal project, no offers to invest any resources in it.
I think that these kinds of predictions are the basis on which you might make sensible strategic decisions. I don't know why it's not done.
For all the talk of unprecedented conditions and unstoppable infernos, there are those who'll tell you Black Saturday was a disaster years in the making, and not just in the baking bush. From the usually tightly controlled ranks of the Country Fire Authority, a voice has emerged to reveal the fire agency passed up the chance as long ago as 2003 to have a working fire prediction model.
Well, this is the type of fire that I was interested in being able to predict. Basically just a few seconds. It should produce an accurate enough prediction within a few seconds of being provided with a point of origin of the fire.
While working as an analyst for the CFA, Ron Shamir developed a fire prediction model before the now esteemed fire ecologist Kevin Tolhurst had anything ready to demonstrate.
It was simple, so it didn't need a supercomputer to work on because of its simplicity, so that you could actually have the potential to use it in the field, in fact on the fire ground. It required very few inputs, so whereas the other models that were available needed a lot of time in order to prepare information to be put into them.
As far as I can see, Ron's model is potentially the most accurate operational model I have yet seen.
But when Ron Shamir showed his model to CFA fire chiefs, he says he was met with a startling lack of interest.
I found that it didn't matter how many demonstrations I conducted, that they all ended up with the same outcome, which is that I'd hear nothing at the end of the day.
Much has been made of the fact that fire prediction was a science in its infancy when Black Saturday hit, at least within the fire services. Ad hoc mud maps abounded. But within the top ranks of the CFA, inside the Integrated Emergency Coordination Centre, serious fire prediction just didn't happen.
Are you aware of any predictive map being produced by the CFA concerning for the Kilmore East fire?
No, CFA didn't produce any predictive maps of the Kilmore East fire other than the mud maps that I've been referring to.
Why not?
We don't have within CFA very many qualified fire behaviour analysts who either have the skills or the time to produce those sorts of documents.
None of this comes as a surprise to Ron Shamir.
They were really developed as, if you like, nice-to-haves, you know, not things, certainly not in the context that your average member of the public would expect.
By the time he'd come up with his model, Ron Shamir believes he'd already been blackballed by an organisation that doesn't brook criticism, even internally. A series of critical evaluations he'd done had not been well received. In 2003, Ron Shamir says he was told to tone down his criticism of a project assessing structural fire risk.
I was told that the bureaucracy, and particularly the minister, had already planned a launch of this, of the first few products to come out of this methodology, and that the train had got out of the station, and it was going to be pretty difficult to stop it now. And that was a clear signal to me that CFA, the other agencies and the bureaucracy generally were not interested in critical feedback, irrespective of how justifiable or important it was.
Eventually, Ron Shamir's relationship with management degenerated to the point where he lodged a complaint that was met with counter-complaints and snowballed into a dispute that ended with Ron Shamir's sacking and a finding at the Industrial Relations Commission in the CFA's favour. The fire prediction model was thrown out with the fire analyst. By the time Black Saturday rolled around, the only fire prediction being done in the Coordination Centre was by Kevin Tolhurst's team for the Department of Sustainability, their work overlooked by those with decision-making clout.
Was anything done, to your knowledge, at the IECC to predict the course of the Kilmore East fire?
I believe I was not aware of on the day. I believe that some fire behaviour people in the IECC made a map that showed some progression of that fire. I did not see it on the day.
Ask questions about fire prediction and you open a can of worms.
The fire research situation in Australia is absolutely appalling. We were the world leaders and now we are right on the back foot. We must be going well down now in terms of our capacity to undertake meaningful, sincere research in bushfires. It is because all the bushfire research in Australia is under the control of the fire agencies and mostly through the Bushfire CRC, which is not an organisation that we can necessarily be highly proud of.
Critics say the problem with the Bushfire Cooperative Research Centre is its work is dictated by the fire agencies themselves.
It's a little bit like asking the passengers of an aircraft, to design the aircraft. The passengers know they want a faster, more effective, fuel-efficient, comfortable aircraft, but they're not the ones who should be designing it.
Meteorologist Michael Reeder says the CRC's original research plan was so misdirected, he declined to be involved.
Well, the risk is that you, first of all, get something that's not the state of the art, and the other thing is you get something that doesn't work properly.
The outcomes of the research are not tampered in any way by any industry, so it is clearly independent research. It's just not research which some scientists may dream up that they'd like to undertake. If it's no perceived benefit by the industry about where they want that or where that research is going to get to.
People can't do research unless it fits in with the policies of the particular fire agencies who control it, and that is far from healthy.
Black Saturday has seen $15 million extra come the CRC's way from the federal government, but the organisation missed out on funding in the latest round of grants through the Commonwealth's usual CRC process. Stateline understands it's been told to lift its game and broaden its constituency to include more ordinary people from the communities that stand to suffer when bushfire policy goes wrong.
That is being broadened right now. So in addition to having this CSIRO and Bureau of Meteorology who were in the original Bushfire Cooperative Research Centre, we've now got Municipal Association of Victoria and also the ABC. They're all coming on board. So we are broadening about where we're going, but it hasn't been a closed shop.
The CFA declined to be interviewed about Ron Shamir's model, but said it had encouraged him to publish his work. And it's the Bushfire CRC that decides what tools are used to predict fire. Ron Shamir is already lost to Victoria. He's jobless and contemplating a future in fire science overseas. He's optimistic the Royal Commission will prompt a shake-up that'll see the CFA give science more weight in future.
A lot of people have left. I've seen a lot of people leave CFA over the years. Certainly not all for the same reason, but I think one of the things that many of them had in common is a frustration with the culture, particularly the management culture. I think that there is virtually no capacity left at CFA.
Jane Cowan reporting there.